All right, we are back to Star Trek Next Frontier. We are in the middle, or at least partway through episode 9, The World of the End. Last session, the first part of episode 9, was very interesting to say the least. And we had a moment that we've been talking about since then, and I think we are going to be talking about for many, many years to come. But for those of you who were not present or forgot or didn't see, we are going to have a usual recap. So who would like to recap the events of the first part of episode 9? Do we have a volunteer, please?
I think seeing as Lulk was so influential in that episode, he should recap.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lieutenant. The crew found themselves in the same position that they've been stuck in for quite some time at this point. And as tensions were rising, the episode began with having a crew meeting on trying to find a way out of it. And before the meeting could end, our pilot left early, probably with the highest of the tensions. And then we assigned everyone their roles and figured out what needed to be done in order to try and fix our situation, that being having no fuel and stuck in wherever we are, this empty void of a place, and being chased, unfortunately not entirely empty, as there was someone that wants to destroy us, so there was at least something out there. And we all had our tasks and we split away, and it wasn't long after that Commander Lulk or I went and found the Thishron, Lieutenant Thishron, and wanted to make sure he had his assignment and that everything was all right since he left early. They found him in the mess hall drinking, and the lieutenant was not happy to see his commander, and would not listen to his orders, and instead decided to physically assault his commanding officer by punching Lulk in the face. And Lulk just took it on the chin, and then rather than starting the fight that I think he and everyone else in the mess hall and was expecting to happen, took the advice of the ship counselor, Lieutenant, and although took it far more literally than she had intended, just went and gave him a big hug in order to try and defuse the situation. And even though the lieutenant tried to break himself free of it, he was just not quite strong enough to break free of a Klingon non-death hug. But when he still continued fighting, Lulk was a bit confused and just looked at Lieutenant, who happened to be in the room, and just kind of like had like a questioning eyebrow raise in her direction, this is what you said to do. And the Lieutenant came then and joined, hugging the Lieutenant Thishron from behind, and at that point the camera panned out and the entire mess hall came and joined to try and defuse the situation. So Thishron still wasn't happy about it. Don't think it had the intended effect more than any further than stopping the fight. So he ended up being put back in his room under arrest, house arrest for assaulting a commanding officer. And from there, everyone worked on their individual goals. We have we're working on, let's see, we're working on a way to let's see. Sorry, I'm blanking on the exact details of the science and engineering. If anyone could help me out.
Oh,
I believe we had Verba look into the shields, myself included.
Shields,
He looked
right.
into improving our shields. I looked at getting past the enemy shields.
Mm-hmm.
And James was working on improving the efficiency of the ship. As well, I know Alder actually was dealing with the efficiency of the ship, who is no longer here. And then Thadagia was working on relieving the fatigue of everyone.
Right. That is right. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Oh, it seems it nearly killed him. Yeah, and at which point, and as we were all working on our individual goals, getting fairly close to finishing them all, we were found again by the enemy, but this time, in the last few minutes of the show, we were actually hailed by video, and so I believe that's where we left off.
yes, I think so. And as you might be able to see, oh my god, what just happened on the screen there? Let me fix that for us. We just got a really strange misshapen video happen on OBS. Our Zoom window just decided to occupy the majority of the screen. But okay, I squeeze it back. I'll fix that. But yeah, as you might notice, if you're looking on the map on the screen here, there is an image of who is hailing the ship. So yeah, currently I'm just trying to fix the whole Zoom debacle here. You might recognize the aliens that are on screen there, and I know Lieutenant Krell, you weren't there in the last episode, so it must have been a surprise for you to see a familiar face to Star Trek fans, but not familiar to the crew of the USS DeGrasse Tyson. So that's where we left. Oh, and then we got our friend back there. There's a Lieutenant Alder's on his way back. All right, we'll just take a moment here to make sure that that Lieutenant Alder is situated because router issues. But I think we're okay for now. Okay, looks good. So yeah, that's what happened in the previous episode, and we are going to pick up here. We're going to pick up, but before we get back to what's going on in the bridge, as soon as we come back from commercial break, we are actually not going to be on the bridge. We're coming back from commercial break following Lieutenant James. Lieutenant James, where are you? What are you doing?
Well, after our little conference with the captain, who stepped down, stood relieved. Lieutenant James had gone down to the holodeck, knowing that it was offline and no one would be there. She could keep to herself while she dealt with the news of the captain. So I guess the camera, opens to her inside the holodeck. The holodeck's kind of dark and it's got that gridded. There you go. gridded look, and she's up against the wall near the doors, and sort of a little hunched over, standing but sort of leaning forward a bit. Obviously quite sad, and she's sort of thinking to herself, and then suddenly sort of looks up for a second, as though she's just had an idea, spins around to the console, and quickly taps a few of the buttons on the LCARs, and actually fires up the holodeck. But in doing so, rerouting power through other systems to hide its activation. And the scene that opens up in the holodeck is the same scene from the start of episode 8, which was her little experiment, the laboratory, with a the bed there, the medical bed, and a holographic version of herself there. She then sort of heads over to the holodeck. The hologram of herself, and calls out the computer. Run a scan of the hologram here to see what changes need to be made for a Vulcan physiology, and any changes marked to my pad. And then she goes over to the bed, where she starts looking at the, I guess, a headpiece that you'd put on the head to, scan the brainwaves and whatnot. And she's basically checking the system out, with the idea of perhaps using it for the captain to, make her a hologram or what have you, so that her body could be put in stasis or something. So she'll work on that.
Okay.
And like I said, doing scans and doing, having a look at the system, checking it out, and yeah.
All right. So she's working on that since she's sort of off duty from her injuries, and she's thinking about preserving the captain because, again, just for a little emphasis, the captain did announce in the previous session of how, since you've been trapped for weeks, and there's no way to replenish the supply of the medication that's been treating her degenerative disease, that she is going to succumb to the illness that has been haunting her for years. While you're there, nobody has suggested before what you just mentioned now of perhaps putting her in stasis, in hopes that, that would also use power, of course.
Yeah,
but
I was going to have a chat with Thaddeus about that, but at the moment it's just the can it be done? Looking over the system, because she hasn't worked on it in a while, so she's just making sure everything's working, putting all the the little diodes on just to make sure that they're still scanning brain waves and stuff like that, so getting the whole system ready.
Okay, all right,
because I sort of got the impression that the captain didn't have terribly long, so she's moving quickly to make sure it's all working.
Okay, all right, so we'll say that's what James is doing at this moment. Locke, did you, I'm sorry, when you were giving some of your recap at the end, I was setting up a couple things here. Did you mention the fact that that you are the captain now?
I definitely left that out.
Yeah, so Krell, you have a new captain, by the way. Still commander rank, but duty has been passed to him, as the captain has stepped down from duty because of her advancing illness. So
I think it was asked last week as well. As the captain hasn't made it official yet, are we calling Locke captain yet? Like, what would be the protocol on that? Is that still not done until it's official?
No,
throughout the ship?
you would still call him captain since he is now the one in command, but his rank remains commander. So,
Okay.
just technically speaking, he is a commander by rank, but his position on the ship right now is captain. So it would make perfect sense to call him captain. He could introduce himself to others as I'm Commander Lulk, captain of the DeGrasse Tyson, because it's not so much the rank he's holding, just the position.
Thank you.
Which, if his leadership allows you all to get through this alive, he might even rise to the actual rank of captain too. You never know about these things. But if you all die, then probably not. Probably. Okay? Alright. Yeah, because I think that was Drake's question last time. So, now that we know what James is up to for here, let me go to the bridge. Let's resume where we were on the bridge, unless somebody else has something else that they were hoping to accomplish before we resume with this opening scene. Anyone?
A Klingon captain, this is a show we've all been waiting for.
This is what we've been waiting for. A Klingon captain who hugs his problems out, right?
He's a pacifist.
Yeah. Hey, it worked. It worked in Picard. All right. Let's see. So we're back on the bridge, and there you are. You have the those of you who are on the bridge, which I believe currently is Drake, Alder, and Lulk, player-wise. Krell, I believe you're still down in engineering. Thadagia in sickbay as usual, and we just found out where James is currently during all this. So you have this heavily armored, almost reptilian-looking alien appearing on the view screen, clearly on this large ship that's part of the same kind that have been hunting you down from what you want to call partition to partition as you've been making your way through this void-like area of space. As this captain said, or as this armored alien said, that he finally caught up with you, and he referred to you as the mysterious vessel. Drake, while you're doing that, you only have 1 point of momentum currently, everyone. So I would like, if you two wouldn't mind, Drake and Alder, I would like you to do maybe 2 separate scans, if you don't mind. Sensor scans, just to see what's going on. These are going to be pretty low difficulty scans, but I'm hoping it helps you build up some momentum, is what it's for. You don't have to. You could just do the scan, and I think most of them should be okay. But right now, do you remember the complications that are still on? Everyone remember what's going on? So the morale has been fixed thanks to the hug heard around the ship. So we no longer have that. The fatigue hasn't been solved yet, has that, Thadagia?
No, not yet.
You took
still,
yeah.
yeah.
You took care of
Due to
your
the,
crew in sickbay, right? You made sure that they were working,
Correct.
but you didn't get the ship, right?
Correct.
Okay. So those of you on the bridge will still have the fatigue complication working against you, and also the other complications based on the departments, with which currently is, I believe, is there a new note somewhere here, or is this the up-to-date one? New note. I think we're okay. Yeah, for using, I just look at it. So security has, I think, 2, and science has 1. So combined with that, that's 3 difficulty for you, Drake, on security. The fatigue plus the 2 in that, and for you, Alder, that is going to be 2. So 3 and 2. Difficulty 3, difficulty of 2. And both are supported by the ship's sensors, so science and sensors. Who would like to roll for the deGrasse Tyson for Drake? And who would like to roll for not Thadagia, unless Thadagia just magically appeared. Alder. Same person could do it, but I mean, everyone could jump in and have fun. I don't care. So we'll say Drake going first. Drake, why don't you get your
For the ship, did you say?
Yeah, somebody needs to roll for the ship, the sensors, and science.
So that would be control and security, or?
Yeah, I think control and security would be fine for doing the sensor. You're doing a tactical sensor sweep, so yeah, that makes sense to me.
So my shipboard tactical systems would come into play?
I think so, because you're scanning more in a tactical sense, so yeah.
Cool.
I'd say
Complication range 2 as standard?
Yep. As standard as of last episode, yes.
Control security 2 and... Oh, here we go.
Okay. Nothing from the ship for Drake, but 3, which is exactly what you needed on your roll. Correct, if I'm reading that correctly. Am I? Drake, you look confused.
So sensor science for both of them?
Yes, it will be the same for Alder as well.
Okay. Science again while I'm here. And complication 2 again,
Yes.
I'm assuming, for that one?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, bam! The DGT is a science vessel. So,
Did that first roll work for the ship?
Yeah, it's a 0. It just came up probably 0 successes.
It was just a false 0, false
False
0
false.
instead
No,
of
I think
security
Wait,
sensors.
yeah. What is false? God
I don't think it's selected properly.
No, yeah.
Because I had
Yeah,
to
do that
reselect
again.
sensors and science.
Then
Yeah.
I mean, Drake
Sorry.
already succeeded, but do it again in case you generate more things. There you go. All right, so you
That
get
was my boo-boo.
1 momentum on the tactical one and 2 momentum on the science one. So you're up to 4 momentum right now between those 2 scans. Okay.
Lovely.
So while this is going on, as natural, Lieutenant Drake is make sure he's running all the usual tactical scans to get the ship prepared for what may be coming, and science would be looking into anything else that's surrounding the ship, what's going on there. So that's what those scans are. Drake, we'll get to you first. You're noticing, of course, what you already picked up last time, really. The size of the vessel, it's much more massive than the other ones that you've encountered of the similar design. Indeed, much more massive than deGrasse Tyson itself. The weaponry you already figured out, same type that you faced before, but there's still a lot more potency into it. The one thing that you do pick up, they would be clearly, the ship is clearly in a tactical advantage as it closes in on you, but it seems to be deliberately keeping its distance. So as it did approach, it could easily just raced right up to the ship and did whatever it needed to do if it wanted to attack you and that. But from your scans, from your readings, it's looking like it's deliberately keeping its distance away from you, as somewhat not out of weapons range, but not in prime weapons range, if you understand what I mean. So I mean, you could still fire on them, they could fire on you, but they didn't put themselves in an advantageous position for leading a beatdown on you.
Okay, and I'll whisper to Log that it seems they're not taking their usual approach this time, so he's aware.
Okay, Alder, I'll get to yours in a second, but we'll just resume where we left off. So if Lok wants to have a chance to respond to what happened, to the message at the end of the last part.
You mean directly to him?
To the
or
alien,
respond?
yeah, to the alien, yeah, if you want to. There we go.
Greetings. I am glad that we are finally able to speak to each other face to face.
He just continues to stare you down, kind of sizing up the ship and crew. You see the eyes darting from face to face on the bridge as he's looking into the monitor.
How long have you and your crew been here?
He finishes his sweep across the bridge before fixing his gaze right onto you. A very long time.
Do you choose to stay here, or are you also stuck in this space?
We made no conscious effort to put ourselves in this predicament, but we are making the most of what this situation has provided for us.
So then, I take it from your words that there is indeed no way out of this place.
There is no escape.
Perhaps you're right. That no one ship could survive in such a desolate place. But maybe there is another way out that neither of us have been able to venture to yet.
He lets out a short laugh. Not full of humor, not full of mirth, but just a little dismissive laugh. Let me cut to the chase. You should realize by now that you are out of options. You put up a very valiant effort of eluding the others in my pack. And for that, I must commend you in your spirit. You are indeed more worthy prey than most. And for that, I offer you something which I rarely offer those that I hunt. And that is a swift and, as much as possible, painless death for you and your crew. All I ask is that you surrender yourselves immediately.
And actually, I am curious. If you hunt us, and it seems that your ship is more than capable, why have you stopped to even talk to us? Why not just blow us away? Has it been so long since your last hunt that you don't wish it to end? You worry how long it'll be until your next hunt?
The reason is quite simple. It's a matter of survival. You have proven yourselves to be much more resourceful than others that have wandered into this trap. And extending this chase any longer does neither of us any good. Your resources are surely running out. A vessel of your size does not possibly have the means to keep going on. And other vessels from my pack have already scanned what little remains of your fuel. Destroying you does me and my pack no favors, as your resources would be gone. So I offer to you a quick solution to the problem that is at hand. It's going to end with your death one way or the other. So you might as well just give your resources to us and accept a proud, honorable end, where we could sing songs of how brave you were as prey and display you as some of our most revered trophies.
But who would you display us to? There's no one else here.
To a hunter, the joy comes in seeing the fruits of our own efforts.
Wouldn't it be far more glorious? As a Klingon, I know glory. To find a way out and to have more places to go, things to hunt, and people to share the trophies with. Is not the hunter's most glorious time when the rest of his fellows are in his hearth and can see the glory of his trophies? Or would you rather sit in this pit in the middle of nowhere, alone, waiting for probably nothing?
If there was a way out of here, we would have discovered it by now. My hunters have been through every rift that we have come across. We have wasted countless resources seeking an exit, and we have lost the majority of our pack. There is no other way. Now, at this time,
My crew.
I want to let Alder get in on things before you respond there, Mr. Log. So please wait a second. So, Alder, something that you are getting also on your scan as you've been running these in the background. It's very, very faint, but what you have right now, and again with you've all generated momentum. You have 4 momentum now too. So Drake, you've had your sensor scan. Alder, you have your sensor scan. You could use obtain information as well if you want to ask other questions in the meantime. But Alder, from your scan, it's very faint, but you are detecting pretty much in the opposite direction of where the ship, this alien hunter ship, is coming from. In the opposite direction of them it's more than you have found thus far, but again, it's still very faint at the very edge of your sensor range. You are detecting elements of deuterium and other gases that occasionally you have, over the past few weeks, come across traces here and there from ships that have been destroyed, or just elements that are just lingering and were never discovered and scooped up. So you're not, it's not shocking to find it, but what it is shocking just how clear the ping is on this, suggesting that while it might not be a vast supply, it's a bit more than you have come across on your own up until now, especially with how distant it is.
Okay, well, I'm gonna hold off on that info just until Lolk is done there with his hail.
Okay. All right, then Lolk, back to you.
My crew would have already found a way out had we not had to deal with you and your hunters constantly nagging at our tail, forcing us to jump from spot to spot as fast as possible.
You mimic the words that we have heard from every prey that we have countered year after year. There is no escape. Don't be like children and run and hide from the truth. Accept your fate. And perhaps you're right. Perhaps there is a way out. With your resources, we may be able to find it, and then your song will be sung for those to hear.
We're not the ones who are running. You are. You run from trying to find a solution, leaving your current predicament. You've settled for the mediocrity of living in this void of nothingness, barely scraping by with whatever other unfortunate vessels happen to wander in. Maybe you are the ones who have already surrendered to your fate, not us. We will continue to fight. We will find a way out, and we will not be destroyed by the likes of you. Now, if you wish to help us, then we can find a way out. You say you've checked every wormhole, every warp portal, but have you tried altering the warp portals? Perhaps any of them could be an exit if you were to enter them or manipulate them in the right way. My crew is working on a method of doing this, and if you would only work with us, perhaps we can all leave this hellish place.
As you're getting through that line, I'm using 2 threat, and as you're talking, he pretty much cuts you off as you see him just furiously hit a control, and a low yield blast from their subnucleonic beam rips out and just smacks into DeGrasse Tyson. Again, at the distance that they're at, and clearly, Drake, you see on your console that the intensity of the beam was intentionally reduced to not drain any more power from your ship, because clearly he doesn't want to take away what he's after. But it's enough to hit the ship, and it starts shaking a little bit, trembling. The lights start flickering. The L cars start blinking on and off. And you're getting power glitches popping up here and there, simply because of how delicate the power grid is currently. But it's not enough to actually do real damage or steal any more power from your ship. He yells, "Enough! I'm tired of these games. If you wish to end this painlessly, you will heed my words. I give you half of a standard time hour. Come towards us and let's get this over with." And he cuts off the screen. And he would if I knew how to do it.
Well, guess I'm not bluffing my way out of that one.
Commander, an interesting point. He demanded we come to him rather than just dropping our shields. And he seems very adverse to coming towards us. Perhaps we should make a quick exit in the opposite direction.
Lieutenant Alder, is there anything on the scanners near us or in the direction of opposite of the enemy ship?
It would appear that there's a very strong ping of deuterium there, which, while I think moving towards it might be good to sort out our power issues, I'm worried it might drag other ships to follow us there as well. But yeah, let's keep that in mind.
Sorry, I'm confused for a second. Is the ping opposing from where they came, or behind, like from where they came from?
Opposing. So you're in the middle. You're in the middle.
Okay.
Ping is that way. Bad guys the other way.
Okay, I misunderstood that.
I agree that perhaps moving towards said deuterium may bring the enemy there as well. However, from our understanding, their sensors are much better than ours. They've been able to find us no matter where we go. They should have already, I would assume, detected it. And push comes to shove, they're about to try and kill us anyway, so if they get distracted with the deuterium, better that than us.
Yes. How are our shields holding up after that last hit?
The hit was much lighter than expected. They're clearly trying to stop us from, well, they look to be trying to stop wasting our energy so they may take it for themselves. So we're still at about 92% shields.
And how was the upgrade to our shields coming along before our friends arrived?
The shields are much better than before, Captain, and it kept out most of the subnucleonic radiation that the weapons are emitting.
All right. And Alder, how is the power grid holding up?
We're still struggling. I do have one idea I might want to work on. In the meantime, I'd like to actually ask the crew to start doing some power conservation techniques of their own. So shutting off lights on decks that are unused, and et cetera, et cetera. And then hopefully that could actually be a tiny bit advantageous to us in the meantime until we find a way to solve this issue.
Bill, who's sitting in the helm right now?
Currently, I just put Voonvi there, so nobody has taken control of Voonvi this episode yet, so anybody could actually control her, or she could just be an NPC until then.
Okay. It's at times like this that I do wish Lieutenant Deshron were here to help us out of this situation.
Yeah, he clearly didn't respond to your order to the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Okay, so just hang on there for a second. I just want to go real quick back to the holodeck. After that little blast of subnucleonic energy, James, the holodeck, like, basically shorted out. Not really shorted out, but with all the glitches and flashing, the power cut out, the simulation was done, and you just found yourself stumbling in the dark midway through what you were doing, almost disoriented since you were like wrapped up in the machinery. But you go over to controls, and with it blinking and flashing, you realize something has happened to the ship. So it's probably best you get down to engineering, even though you're technically off duty. You might want to make your way down there, yes?
Yes, I'll run down there quickly.
Okay, so running down to engineering, that's where Krell is still working, because everyone... Again, Krell, you're kind of pulling on double or triple shifts. Even though your ops, basically when Alder is done at ops, he swaps down to engineering, then he swaps out to science, he keeps doing that, and then you swap back up to the ops station. Like, everyone's pulling like multiple duties here. So currently, your job is, you've been picking up the slack in engineering as well. So let me get you in there. Hang on. Let me find engineering. Too many pages. Engineering is in main engineering. So there we go. And we need to get... Lieutenant James comes in, and James, you see your favorite Cardassian is there, still messing around with your warp core. Everyone's looking
doors
tired
open.
and exhausted. Yeah.
She runs in and just sort of sees him and just goes, does that sigh, and what happened? Why did all the power flicker?
Do we have a designated reason for that, or should I just come up with something?
You probably would know that you got hit by a blast of energy from from elsewhere, and probably checking the just regular tactical displays there on engineering lane. You know what's happening on bridge. You figure that the ship that is in close proximity is being very threatening in a more than verbal way.
Well, we're working on keeping power systems up to speed right now, but I don't know what's going on out there, but we really need to get this back under control here. Any recommendations, Lieutenant?
Any systems damaged?
Can I do a check on a systems check?
Yeah, just you'll go through the line that's on your master display there, and you'll see that whatever hit the ship hasn't had any lingering effects. Like, it's just because of how fragile the power is right now, why everything kind of flickered on and off, but there was no actual damage done.
She's barely holding on as is, Lieutenant, but we're doing our best down here. We really need to, like I said, get control of the situation, and we need time to finish these repairs.
Very well. Continue what you're doing. Tap the communicator, James, to bridge.
Seems as though we've lost communications to the bridge.
Spoke too soon.
This is the bridge.
What's happening up there? Are we all right?
We have entered negotiations with our new friends here. Seems they wanted to give us a warning shot, but at least for the next 30 minutes or so, we should be okay. However, we need you to be prepared in the engines for a quick getaway sometime in less than 30 minutes.
Huh. I'll give her all she's got. All right, James out.
Thank you, Lieutenant. We'll give you a heads up before we make our move.
Right. I look to Krell and all right, well, looks like we're going to need to squeeze every little bit we can out of those engines.
Not a
Now,
problem. I can make that happen.
now let me interject here again something that you might want to, if you want to bring up and negotiate. And also, Krell is part of the ops department too, so he works directly under Alder with this. But again, with the was it the power restrictions or whatever the heck I called that thing, the power demands complication. Engineering, because of just how intense it is, it's still at a complication of 2, and you still have the whole fatigue thing that the medical department hasn't helped to treat yet. So everything. What's that?
We actually got the complication down to 1 last session.
Oh, was that down 1? Okay.
Yeah. Because we went round to everyone, and then by the time it got to me, it was like, all right, well, engineering's normal. So I was like, excellent.
We got that down to 1.
Yeah, so we ended up getting it down to 1.
All
I
right.
do believe.
Okay.
I'm
It's possible.
pretty sure.
It's possible. It's been a few weeks. And I forget things. So down to 1, and the fatigue complication again. So everything is going to be +2 difficulty currently.
Ouch.
And again, rerouting.
well,
Now, Alder also fixed like some of the rerouting things from his console there, so it makes it slightly less dangerous if you need to do rerouting, but you might want to think about that if there is something important you want power rerouted for.
Yeah, I also, if I remember right, a couple weeks ago, we were trying to set up an EPS flow regulator so that we could like transfer power between systems much quicker. I know we briefly talked on that last time I played with you guys, and we were like, that's something we could try to work on. It also will like help recover power loss. It was just some kind of a techno gear that we were trying to get set up here.
What Alder did was Alder found a way from his side trying to do some efficient things, but there hasn't been any attempt yet for like a system like you mentioned to try to there were some talks, but nothing was attempted yet to try to do something to help regenerate or at least prevent some power loss. It hasn't, nothing's been started yet on that, but it was discussed a little.
Krell was talking about on the end of, was it the end of session 8?
It was probably at the end of episode 8, yeah.
Krell joined us, the last time Krell joined us.
Mm-hmm.
Not last episode, but yeah, the episode Krell joined us with.
Yeah.
I actually vaguely remember this. He was working on a system for transferring power. So
then that's what we could do right now.
That as well.
That could be the project that Krell's on in engineering, if that's what you would like to do, sir.
Yeah, if that's what you need, Lieutenant James, put me to work. I have a blueprint in mind. I can get to work on it right away.
Please do.
Aye, sir. On it.
I'm also would like to look into having grown up and worked on Utopia Planitia, and therefore not necessarily been part of any of the work on things like the Intrepid class or anything like that. But knowing some of it, could I try and implement some changes on our warp drive, our warp system, to squeeze? I think the Nova is max at 8 warp 8, thereabouts. I would like to try and squeeze a bit more warp speed out of those if I can.
Okay. Those I think both of those projects are going to be I think the warp point is a bit more massive. Just going by there's a very similar example in the core rulebook of how getting extra percentages out of systems like that happens, which would be an extended task. So we could start something with that, but it's definitely not something that's going to be resolved within the next 30 minutes for like a permanent increase in that. But we could start on that. The only other problem would be with doing a project like that and with Krell doing his project. These are two pretty big and pretty important projects that would be demanding the same resources at the same time. So if you try to do them both simultaneously, it would probably amplify the difficulty and risk for both of them succeeding.
I'll assist Krell then.
Okay. And then I'll
keep
that
core one in mind.
Yeah, because when there's a chance to start that, that's when we could start building on to squeeze out that extra utility. God,
cool.
The word
sounds good.
Okay. All right, so Krell, do you want to explain your plan real quick again? What you want to do with the EPS conduits?
Yeah. So we can install this thing called a flow regulator that will help improve the power transfer rate between systems, so we can quickly transfer all available power that's safe to transfer to one system. And I think it was Alder that was saying, like, if we need to get out of here or I was the commander, if we need to get out of here in a hurry, transfer all the available power we have to engines, and we make a break for it if we have to, or whatever they need, weapons, sensors, whatever you need. I think we can make it work.
Okay. I think with what Alder got done in the last session was Alder, please correct me if I'm wrong, but your success there added a 2 resistance to the extended consequences. So something like this could also add to the resistance of that. Alder, do you remember if it was 2? I'm trying to find it in my notes, but I'm pretty sure it was.
2 sounds about right to
I
me.
thought it was like a 2 to that to help prevent the power from draining. So, all right, then let's get on that. So, that's your project there. It's going to take a little time. Of course, we're going to say the interval would probably be the entirety of the 30 minutes, provided that something bad doesn't happen or some big complication doesn't happen. But that is going to be uh, clearly an engineering thing. So let me look at the stats. It's going to be engineering with, I think, attribute of reason or control would either. I think reason would probably be the main one to lead it, and then control for probably the assistance to get the everything actually connected. So let me. What's that?
May I ask a stupid question? It's not a stupid question, but may I ask a question?
Okay, I was hoping for a stupid question, but go ahead.
I can try and think of a stupid one for you.
Oh, please.
But the sensible one to start with, I have a talent for in the nick of time, which adds an extra success to. Let me have a look. Yeah, adds 1 additional work for every effect rolled. Does that mean I have to be, to use that, do I have to be the primary, or can I still use that as assisting?
I think that would be either way. I think as long as you're part of the project, I think that would kick in.
Cool.
Since you're talking about it sounds like it's for extended tasks. Is that right? The
yes.
way you phrase it. Okay, so this one we could probably do this as an extended task, and probably starting roll now and then see if it gets resolved right away, or if and then probably maybe just 1 additional roll at the end of the 30 minutes to see if we get it completed. Okay. So
sure. If you just want to do the 1 roll, sorry, I jumped the gun a bit.
No. Because I was kind of flopping back and forth whether, because something like this is kind of an extended task. I just didn't know if should I do that or just make like a really difficult single task due to the time limits. So let me work that up for extended task, because your talent will definitely play well there, and that's what I wanted to do originally. So let's do that. So we'll say Krell and James, you are getting your gear ready to do that. I'll whip up the task in a second, but I want to jump to sickbay with Tadagia and then get back to you for the first roll, okay?
Yep.
All right, and then you could think what else you're doing. Tadagia, sir. Tadagia, in sickbay, what are you doing currently? You too felt the effects of the subnucleonic beam. You did your little shake in there, everything flickering out. You're trying to make sure all the main systems remain online. You've already done your power saving in the last session, so you already got a lot of sickbay really secured. But now what is your next focus as far as crew survivability is concerned?
Right now, we're actually I've been conferring with several of my medical staff as to the best approach as to how we can help the majority of the crew who has not been administered their dosage, how to best go about this. And right now we have a few possibilities. One is administering the ADTH throughout the life support systems. It's a fast-acting stimulant. That's one. Another one is using diloxazine. It has very few side effects, but prolonged use may lead to irritability and errors in judgment, anything over 2 to 3 days.
Don't give it to the Shran.
So that's where we're currently at right now, as far as how we can support the majority of the crew as far as they're undergoing fatigue. In fact, I would like to send that information up to the main bridge as for captain,
Do you want
acting captain.
call up? Do you want? I like how you specify acting captain, not the real captain, mind you.
Not the real
Acting captain. Do you want to call it up directly, head up to the bridge, or just send the data and wait for his opinion? How would you like to do it?
I'll send the data. I'll send the data.
Okay.
And wait for his opinion.
Okay. So, Locke, on the bridge, you're getting full into captain mode too, where basically every department's sending you stuff. So now you're getting from Tadagia that whole wondering how to proceed best to treating the crew with those two options, wondering which is going to be the safest for everyone.
As I received the information, I opened up my communicator and hailed the medical room. Lieutenant Tadagio?
Captain?
I see that we've come to a difficult decision here. As acting head of the medical department, what is your recommendation?
Well, option one is the ADTH, which would be pumped through the life support system. The problem with that is it only has a half-life of maybe a day or so. It doesn't remain that in the system too long. Our second option would be the Deloctavine. This has very few side effects, but prolonged use can cause irritability anywhere over 3 days. Not since we're not sure as how long we will be in this situation. I'm leaving it pretty much in your hands. Administer the life support system, ADTH, with the possibility that the crew might be alert, but only effective for about a day or so. Whereas the Deloctavine is much more effective, but has possible side effects, including irritability and errors in judgment. Anything over 3 days.
Well, had you come to me with this several hours earlier, it might have been a more difficult decision. But our new friends here, I think, have chosen for us as if we do not come up with a solution soon, then I don't think that we'll have even the whole 24 hours to find out whether we made the correct decision with the life support, let alone 3 days. So I believe that we should go with the former short-term solution and give the crew the best chance possible for us to survive even the next hour, let alone the next 24 hours.
Understood. I will begin administering it through life support systems shortly.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
And if there's anything else you need.
If anything comes up, we'll be sure to let you know. But given our current situation with the opposing ship, please do be ready for any possible crew injuries in case we're fired upon again.
Understood.
Okay, so you want to get started on that through the life support system, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll say for that to take place, that's going to be a because you're trying to make it as less dangerous as possible, of course. So we're going to say, as along with medicine, that is going to be Probably a control or reason, because it would depend. Are you doing it all straight through sickbay?
Yes, all I have to do is administer it through.
Okay. Then in that case, I think probably control and medicine would be okay. Would make sense because you're using all the sickbay controls there, right?
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything you want to do to try to help you with this, or any other kind of support to do it?
Let's see. Not that I can see here. Well, will emergency medicine come into play here?
Emergency medicine. Well, technically, yeah. I think if you do emergency medicine, if you're going to use that as a focus for this, then I think it might be better for reason and medicine to do it, because it's kind of suggesting that, you know, your calculations might not be entirely correct. It's not. It is an emergency, but it's sort of a rushed cure.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
Yes.
Okay, so reason and medicine, and then somebody who would like to roll for the DeGrasse Tyson, because he's using the actual ship systems to do that. So DeGrasse Tyson would be, I would say probably the best for that would be probably computers and medicine, because it's using the ship's programming to disperse it to where the crew needs it.
Let me get a roll in. I'm a little rusty.
There you go. Okay, so DeGrasse Tyson, computers and medicine. Thidagia, it's a difficulty. Sorry. So it's going to be a difficulty 2, but you also have the medicine, the medical department power thing as well. So that increases it to difficulty 3. So are you buying any dice or doing anything else?
Let's see, what do we have here? Did I have any momentum?
We have 4 momentum right now. We have 4 momentum in the pool.
I guess we'll try to use that. One of those.
Okay, so 1 extra die?
Yes.
Okay, so 3d20 for you. Still, the complication range is still 2 for everybody. And you're using your focus of emergency medicine, right?
Yes.
Okay, nothing else? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're ready to go when you're ready. Okay, what do we get there? Tadaji, you only rolled 1 die. You're supposed to be rolling 3. So you need to roll 2 more. 2 more.
Under my task roll, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So just 2 more dice. 2 more dice. Hear the whoops. Oh, okay. So you re-rolled everything.
Yes.
Okay. So you got. What's that?
Yeah, I just rolled everything up. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. All right, so you got your 3 successes, and the DeGrasse Tyson. Did you roll that? I didn't see that there. You good on roll 20 with that? Krell, but not Krell.
Yes. Sorry. I was messing around here.
No problem.
Okay. You said computers and medicine?
Yes. Task roll of 1, complication range of 2.
So I'm on the DeGrasse Tyson sheet, but computers is redded out. I can't. Oh, there it goes.
Oh,
Boom. Computers,
that was scary.
medicine, check. And where is my task roll 2? You said
task roll 1, complication 2.
1, complication 2, and bada bing. I'm hitting the delta.
There you go. You got that 1 momentum coming back because the ship is working for you too. All right, Thadagia, so you're getting the system, the whole ship's life support system prepped to disperse this to remove the fatigue from everyone.
Excellent.
As they're breathing through. All right, so your crew is busy doing that. Good job. Okay, let's jump to engineering real quick. Engineering, so Krell and James, you are getting on the EPS flow regulators. So you're trying to get that roll set up, the very first roll there. I mean, feel free to add a little role play into it if you want. It's a magnitude 2 extended task, work track of 12, difficulty of 2, and I believe it's now only +1. Only +1 difficulty?
Yeah, 1 complication.
Okay.
I don't know about the difficulty, but I know we've reduced the complication range down.
Okay, so then I think it'll just be 1 complication and then 1 difficulty increase. So difficulty of 3 currently. Will, since it's your idea, Krell is going to take the lead on it. James will be supporting. So, as we said, it's going to be reason and engineering for the lead. And it's going to be a control and engineering as basically James is hearing out your idea and she's doing the manual work there while you are preparing your theory of getting everything worked out. So she's basically following your lead.
Okay, reason and engineering with the control of 3, you said?
It's going to be normally a task roll of 2, but if you have any kind of talent or if you have a focus, like I'm looking here, you have power system, so you should have focus, yes, because this is a power system thing. Your talents, let's see, do you have any talent that applies for this? Not here, but if you do buy an extra die, that triggers untapped potential, so that's always there.
I mean, if I don't use it,
we buy.
What's that?
Yeah. Agreed.
Go Crow.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make this roll. How do I buy the extra die again?
You just say you're going to use momentum to buy the die, or add threat to buy the die. But right now you have 4 momentum, so that's 1 for an extra die, 2 more for the second die, and I just threw it on the floor like a nice guy. Or 3 more after that for the third die. So 1 and then 2 and then 3. So how much are you buying?
What do you recommend, Lieutenant?
I think get the 1 die, which would give you a task roll 3.
I like it. Okay. And you guys ready for the roll?
Drum roll.
Here we go. Come on, he's sweating all over the console right here, trying to get these equations in, and bada bing.
There's your 3 right there, from what I can tell. And then
1 from James.
There's 1 for James. So that is successful.
Well,
that is
done.
generating 1 momentum back. So you're back to 4. Now this is a extended task. So it succeeds. But you're now rolling against the workload that you have to accomplish. So you succeeded, which earns you the right. So you are going to roll the challenge dice now, Krell. And James, can you tell me what that thing is of yours that you're doing, that talent of yours that adds to that?
It's called In the Nick of Time. I believe it's in the core rulebook. And when you succeed at an engineering or science task as part of an extended task, you score 1 additional work for every effect rolled.
Okay, so you were part of it, and you did roll more than a 0 successes, so you are part of the success. So we're going to say that applies here. Krell, it's going to be 2 plus your engineering score, so you're rolling 6 dice.
Okay,
you have to manually.
Manually type it in, like
manually type it in on the challenge dice.
Okay, let's see. Just down at the bottom of roll 20, right?
It should be again on your character sheet. So under task roll, you'll just click the delta next to the task roll.
Correct, but do you want me to go ahead and select the one challenge dice you said?
Yes,
6.
select and put 6 in the value there, yeah.
Roger that, and 6. Okay, here we go.
Okay, let's see here. The top one we don't have to worry about. That was a d20 roll. We don't need that. So just the bottom challenge dice one we need. That's currently 1, 2, 3. And again, with Megan's effect, that turns it into 4. But you can spend 1 momentum to re-roll those 3 that came up as zeros.
Uh-huh. So I just changed the 6 to a 3 then, correct?
Yes, and spend 1 momentum, and you can do that. Yes.
I am going to do that.
So that would be 4, 5, and then well, it was already 4, so 5, 6, and then 7, 8 because of Megan's talent that she is adding there. So from a work track of 12, you knocked that down to 4. You got over 5, so you made 1 breakthrough already. So you only need 1 more, so you are well on the way to getting this done unless something horrible happens on the second roll. So right now, so far, so good.
He kind of, Krell kind of he looks over at James and he kind of throws his hand up for a high five, which is something they've never done before, but he kind of just throws it up.
And what does James
She just looks at him, like, just glares still, like, and gets back to work.
Okay, and Krell, I need you to roll 1 more challenge die because you use untapped potential. That might gain more momentum or possibly threat.
Here we go.
You get 1 momentum back, so you're back to 4 again. 4 is your lucky number for all this. All right, so while that's going on in engineering, you two are still working on that, doing the calculations, doing the heavy lifting, getting all those regulators going down. We're going to take our 10-minute break because we're close enough to 3 o'clock right now. When we come back, we'll be back on the bridge with Locke, Drake, and Alder, and maybe the 3 of you, and you could communicate with everyone else as you see fit, need to come up with your plan of how you are going to follow up on the negotiation with the enemy ship. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
10-minute break. Get your drinks. We'll be back. Pausing the recording now. And we are back. This computer is fast. We actually did come back instantly. So we are back from that commercial break, and we are going to the bridge. And because, as everyone knows, this is a very professional video for Star Trek Adventures, I already prepared by getting everything to the bridge ahead of time. It just looks like I didn't. Okay, so we are back on the bridge, assuming. Yes, it's not updating OBS. There, we're back on the bridge. So, Locke, Drake, and Alder, you are the 3 senior officers still on the bridge right now. Time is ticking down. Tadagia is basically drugging the entire crew currently as you're breathing it in. You are all starting to feel like really giddy and lightheaded, but you feel a hell of a lot better than you did before. James and Krell are down in engineering. They are basically rewiring the ship's guts just to try to squeeze the last bits of energy out as efficiently as possible without losing too much, similar to what Alder was doing tech side up on the bridge last time. So you got a lot of plates spinning right now, but the time is ticking away. And your friends are waiting patiently for your decision.
What should we do?
That awkward stare.
Lieutenant Alder, how are the power systems looking for being able to to divert the power to specific systems?
I wouldn't recommend we do it too often, but I'm sure we can get away with it at least once if you can prioritize which systems you'd like.
I'm considering that we should focus our power on engines and shields. Perhaps even a majority to engines. While, of course, keeping the life support on.
We can do that, come on.
If any of the other crew have input on this, now would be the time to share it.
Given the size of the ship, I think that's probably going to be the best move. And if we can make our way to that energy supply that Alder found, perhaps we can do a quick drive-by and grab some as we go if they give chase.
How many shuttles do we have? 2?
There's usually 2 active at any time, and there's probably some spares left over to reconstruct lost shuttles, but the ship basically holds 2 at a time.
Mm.
But we only have 1 because we left one with Velik.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't they beam down?
It was
I
not
thought
a very
Velik went down
hospitable...
to the shuttle. I think he. Sorry, I thought he was fixing the shuttle that was crashed because it was fixable. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
Either way, there would still be enough to basically get the second shuttle up and running with as standard operating procedures with the stuff that's kept aboard the vessel. So you could assume there's 2 there. Maybe 1 is definitely like immediately usable. The second one maybe needs prepped, but definitely you could consider you have 2 on hand.
Has the bridge?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, has the bridge let engineering know about the deuterium or anything like? Has anyone passed any of that on to us down in engineering? It hasn't been
actually,
done in game.
I don't think we have yet.
Okay, cool.
But definitely we can affect local ring engineering, as it may, really quickly. Lieutenant James.
Yes, Captain.
The good news is, for at least the next 30 minutes, we probably will not be shot again. The bad news is that after 30 minutes, we probably will be shot again. In order to avoid this, we are looking at making a break for it. Will the engines be up for it?
Yes.
All right, then please prepare the engines. We'll be diverting as much power as we can spare to the engines. Please prepare for a sudden and quick getaway, as we have detected a possible source of deuterium in the opposing distance from our new friends, and we'll be making a break for it in hopes that either we'll find something there, or at a minimum we might distract them, as they would prefer to stop and harvest what we find while we continue on our way.
You don't think it's theirs that they're hiding?
Hmm?
You don't think it's their source of deuterium that they've been hoarding?
That might be it, but Lieutenant Drake rightfully pointed out that they don't seem to want to continue in our direction, as they, when asking for our surrender, demanded that we come to them. So they might be avoiding the spot.
That might be to keep us out of sensor range. They don't want to push us back any further.
But if they're only looking for our surrender, then normally they would come to us after surrendering. Would not want their prey to make any sudden moves.
Exactly. So they don't want to come towards us to make us run towards their deuterium, and they want us to not discover it. Now that we've discovered it, I say we make a break for it.
Yeah.
And
So
we try and
please do
spook
everything
us.
you can to prepare the engines for the sudden shift in power.
Yep, affirmative.
So yeah, back on the bridge, definitely. I'll say it again. It would be nice to have our pilot for this situation to be able to discuss how difficult this will be for them to get us out of here quickly.
Hey, someone could take over for Voomvi. She did get you away from that neutron star. Anybody can always pick
You never
up...
get a chance.
What's that?
Oh, you never get a chance to play. Why don't you play as Frontiersmen?
Oh, I get to do everything. That's why I hate editing these videos. Every time I skip to make sure it's working, all I hear is my voice talking. That's all I hear, and it makes me so angry. Like, that's why I want to stop talking, and now I'm talking more. No. So, anyone, supporting character, you could jump into, you could quantum leap into Voomvi, and she's yours for episode 9 if anyone wants to do the roles for her.
I'm on it if no one else wants it.
All right, you want to do that? Okay, so you now have control of Voomvi, which means you can roleplay as her. She is your main character when she is the only one in the scene. If you're both in the same scene at the same time, you can designate which is your main and which is your backup character for that scene. Main character gets full access to all their skills in that. Backup characters, I think, can only like support on difficulties 0 task rules. So they are basically just in the background doing their thing while you have the spotlight on someone else. Okay?
Okay. She's just a Vulcan ensign con officer?
Yeah, and she got them out of a tight spot with that neutron star. She really the last time Thishran was arrested. So I mean, she stepped up to the plate before, so she doesn't really have a personality yet, and that's for everyone to develop. Since she is coming back as a return here as a new character second time, that counts as an upgrade for her. So we could do that later where she'll get like a little boost to her skills or that. So now that she reappeared, she gets a little bit stronger. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, Vulcan helmsman.
Just a quick question: is that music coming through on my mic at all?
I don't hear anything.
Okay. Sorry, the church band is playing and the horns are quite loud in my room.
I thought it was all along the watchtower, and we were going to have to tell you about a very, very unfortunate secret you're about to learn with 4 other people. Okay, so engineering, yeah, it's going to be okay. So if you're going to move the power, that's probably going to be Ops would be doing that, but since Krell is down there and Alder's the main one on Ops currently, he would be able to swap power out to the other systems if you want to do that now. Last time, Alder, you put 1 point into everything. So engineering, tactical, helm, science, and medicine all had 1 point put into it, lowering their difficulties. So if you're going to beef up the other sections, you could put another point into engines, and that would take care of it. But weapons tactical has 2 more slots that need to be compensated for. So if you want to max out both of them, basically you would be taking away from helm, science, and or medicine.
Well, I think I'm just really going to be prioritizing engineering.
Okay.
Per Log's instructions, yeah.
What would you like to remove the power from to do that? Helm, science, or medicine?
Well, to be honest, like I still think in the downtime in the time during the other scenes, I've been actually working on that power conservation thing I mentioned to Log. So I'm through a combination of like turning lights off in unoccupied areas, reducing temperature in non-critical zones, and powering down non-essential systems. I'm hoping that if you need me to roll for that, or if we can just assume I'm fantastically good at this, that I won't need to take a point away necessarily from another section and can rather just gain the extra point to use.
Oh, well, how about this then? We'll say you gain an extra temporary point to do that because of how successful your things were last time. So again, it's only temporary, but it's enough to take out from engineering, but we still have to roll on the extended consequences table to see how close you're getting to, because it is still a finite supply of the power that you have to work with. So every little adjustment slowly bleeds that away. So how's that? We'll save at least
That sounds
for the
just
next
fantastic.
jump. There we go. So for the next jump, we'll say all of the efforts that Alder's been working on, it basically gives you the benefit of it without having to hamstring anyone else. Alder, do you want to roll on the extended consequences, or did I do that last time, or was that you?
I think you did that last time. Yeah.
I do remember rolling dice last time. Okay, well then let me find, where is that? There we go. So, where is that? So what was left of the extended consequences? No, that's why it doesn't make sense. That is the wrong paper. So what is left of the extended consequences? I believe it was down to... No, that's the wrong way. Where the hell? Alright, it's in the book. I wasn't expecting to roll again so soon. So, there we go. I believe only 3 came off last time, so nothing major. So I'll just roll the Klingon dice this time. It's weird, my notes on that one, it's no longer on my desk. Hang on a second. Okay, yeah, that's what you're doing right now. Ah, there it is. Okay, so down to 7, yeah. So you now have 2 resistance on it. They're not done in engineering right now, so there's no more resistance added to it just yet because Krell and James are still in the midst of doing that. So I'll give you. Wait a minute. Let me throw this out here. I could do it now, so you could have everything ready. So when they're done, you're ready to go. Or we can make things a little bit trickier for them and give them their final roll to do it, and then we make the roll on the thing. As in, the moment they're done, Alder hits the buttons to do it. But we're going to increase the complication range or something on that, regardless. So it's sort of like a in the nick of time sort of thing.
Well, that sounds better for the drama, doesn't it? Let's throw the go with that.
So let's leave that there for now. All right. Anything else going on with any player? Anything else want to be said? Anything else want to be role played? Anything else want to be added to the mix? Before we rush the timeline ahead to the final roll for the EPS conduits.
I want to make sure that our systems are ready to take in as much deuterium, depending on if it's in space or whatever. I want to make sure that we're ready to suck it in through the buzzard collectors or beam it or whatever we can, whatever form it's in, get it on board really quickly.
Okay. Let's see. We'll say normally, yeah, it'll just be pulled in correctly, straight through. As long as you're piloting through whatever it is, it'll be fine. So we'll say that those systems are still normal, but we'll see when you get there what kind of condition it's in, and then we could give you a roll if it's necessary to do that. So you're keeping that in mind. Just let me know when the time comes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm just applying the shield effects that myself and Verba did last time.
Okay.
So looking at more further weaknesses in these much bigger shields on the enemy ship.
Okay. All right. So
and modulating our own.
That was there from last time. Okay. Okay, that's still there. Anyone else? Also, Alok, I should ask you, are you waiting until the very last minute of the 30 minutes before you're acting, or are you going to have them just be like, let's do it now before the enemy knows that the time is up? So, which is your course of action?
I mean, we're obviously rediverting our power to different systems. How obvious is that to the enemy?
If they were actively scanning you, they could probably determine that you're doing that, but they would have to be like really focusing like a very like intense scan on you to be getting those kind of readings for it, since you're not getting like huge jumps of power because you don't have that much power to really jump up. So it's not that obvious, but and they're not currently scanning you.
Okay, and all right, well, let's so I've got two ideas, guys. Let's see if any of you have input. We can either just go without saying anything at like minute 23, like nondescript random time point, or we can hail them and then just as soon as the conversation starts, mid-sentence, go. So like, either way, trying to surprise them, and maybe buy ourselves a few extra seconds before they realize that we're running.
I actually kind of like the idea of chatting to them and like, okay, look, we'll surrender. What will that entail? And if they say come towards us, we start moving, but then do the sudden turn and run. I like that.
I think they're used to people running probably as well, so they're probably expecting us to make a run, so we gotta find a way to surprise them, I bet.
But that's why I think if you say that, hey, we're going to surrender, they might let their guard down a little bit, because I think right now they're expecting us to go. Whereas if we say, right, we're obviously not going to make this, so, if you're going to make it quick for us,
yeah, that
and then just run.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other option would be to lie and tell them that, see if we can't get them to come towards us and see what their attitude is. We can test the theory that Drake had, that they don't want to come any closer. But I think probably just gunning it when they expect us to start moving towards them might be the best shot.
I agree. I think chatting with them, trying to convince them to move towards us. If they refuse, again, slowly start to move towards them, can push the energy into the engines and then gun it.
Right, because I mean, our ship can't really like turn super quickly, right?
Wouldn't imagine from a standstill.
I mean, just in general, like Star Trek ships don't turn super fast. They're more like boats.
True.
What if we
fairly smaller ship compared to a lot of the other ships? So,
what if we fire some sort of pulse or something to quickly blind their senses? So you fire that, run. It doesn't need to like disable them or anything. Just blind their senses for a quick second, like a flashbang for us.
That's a good idea.
A ship-sized flashbang.
We'll probably be pretty vulnerable as well once we route all power to engines, right? Our shields will be down. We won't have weapons.
We still have them. There'll be a lot of difficulty in using them. So I do intend to fire a bunch of photon torpedoes and hope that blinds them. I'm also interested in what will happen when a subnuclear weapon hits a bunch of photon torpedoes. That's gonna have a fun effect, I think.
They got to put their shields down to board our ship. We can board their ship at the same time. Just switch ships.
They would have to drop their shields. Ooh, they would have to drop their shields, lol. Go head towards them, make them drop their shields. I will launch all the photon torpedoes, and then we run away. I forgot about the shields.
But we'll then have a whole lot of people on our ship.
No. We don't have to drop shields. They need to drop shields to port us over.
Yeah, but they're not going to drop shields till we've dropped shields. Because we have to drop our shields for them to get through too. It's a two-way thing.
I think
You
we're
can't
putting
beam onto a
ourselves-
ship with shields up.
I think this is
I mean, the
putting
board
ourselves
can.
too close to them. I think it's better that if we're gonna run, then I think it's better that we don't get any closer.
Fair point.
If anything, because like I said, if it's not like we turn quickly, this isn't like a ship from the Expanse that just spins around at 10 Gs.
Ooh.
So if we're already pointed away, assuming we're already pointed away from them currently, because they're chasing us, right? We're not pointed face or head to head.
Okay. I do have a bad idea.
Go on.
Right. To spin the ship around, nose to tail, we could decompress a compartment at the nose of the ship underneath and a compartment at the back at the top, which would give momentum to spin. So because once you start moving, you decompress two rooms, two whatever, stall rooms if they're in the right spots, and we start the spin. We start the engines moving, so you're doing the spin and moving, and off we go.
Right, but the problem isn't getting the ship to move. The problem is not smashing all of the people inside the ship from the G-force if you're going to do it at any kind of quick speed.
That's what the inertial dampers are for.
But Bill, what is our heading currently?
You mean whether you're facing them or not?
Yeah.
We'll say because they were approaching you to come on, didn't really establish where they're pointing, so I'm going to harken back to the old Star Trek days, rolling a die to determine, or Star Wars days back in the day with Gino. And the question is, are the odds against you? So if I roll an odd number, it's going to be the worst possible choice for you, unless you say the odds aren't against you. So are the odds against you, yes or no? So basically evens or odds, what do you want?
Evens.
So the odds are against you. Okay, then let's see. We got a 10, so they are not coming at you head on.
Okay. So if we're already pointing away from them, then I mean, if you want to fire some sort of torpedoes that might distract and or blind them, I don't know that we have enough time to modify the torpedoes to make them flashbangs. But as long as that doesn't make us go get away any slower, then I would say that's just fine. But maybe I'll start the conversation with them, and then mid conversation we can just hit the engines into full gear and try and get out as fast as possible.
Can I just ask a quick question? With ship shields, Bill.
Yes.
Is speed at all a factor? So if we dropped a mine, it would still hit the shield, correct?
Hit Who shield? So
if we ran and dropped a mine behind us,
yes.
and they followed us, it would hit their shields, not hit their ship. Correct.
Yes.
Or would it go through their shield because it's moving? It's not moving.
No, it would have to have the same. It would have to be at the same
Frequency.
frequency to pass through the shield,
okay.
which it likely would not.
We didn't get the shield frequencies, did we, when we did all the scanning?
No, you'd have to have Klingons and Dr. Soren capture Geordi and then modify his visor to pick up the little number on their console once you beam it back in order to do that.
Can we beam the captain over and she can go look?
Can you come over and we give you these fancy glasses just as like a peace offering, and then you just go back and announce to engineering how nice we are, right? And make sure you look at every console. Yeah. That's a risky maneuver, but you could attempt that. Like, but yeah, it would just bounce off. Not bounce off. It would detonate on their shields.
On the shield.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say we've got our plan then. I think Lolk should come up with a nice go word for his for this plan.
Hmm.
And broadcast it throughout the ship.
Warriors, they'll probably like you.
That is true.
You guys have a lot in common. And it's space. We can go in any direction, so we don't necessarily have to be facing away from them to just get the hell out of there. As long as we don't go directly at them, I think we're good.
We're aiming for the deuterium, though, which is away from them, so we do have one direction to go.
I just want to see the ship racing away sideways. That would be an exciting view.
It's not how engines work.
You need to animate that now so we can show it in the episode.
Yeah. Everyone's like, "What the hell, Boomby?" And she's like, "Eh, okay." All right. Do we have a plan? Was that a plan? I got so confused by the end of that. So what's happening?
I think that we'll hail them at the 30 minutes, and then mid, or maybe even just a few minutes early, I'll hail them, and then mid conversation on the trigger word that Lolk comes up with. We'll have Ensign Lunvi go and just hit the pedal to the metal, as it were, and make a beeline for the deuterium source. And we can have I think that's the best. If we want, if I understand correctly, if it doesn't change our speed or maneuvering capabilities, then we can fire off a few torpedoes to distract them. I would even suggest making them on a course where they probably wouldn't even actually hit them. That way we can feign peace if they catch up later.
I'll try and block the weapon fire with it then.
Because we don't want it to look like we're actually trying to destroy them, just distract and slow down.
Okay. That sounds good to everyone. No other chiming in from medical or ops. Thadagia, Alder, anything you want to add before we move on? I don't want to leave your voices unheard if there's something.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm pretty much okay with the plan. However, a suggestion: we do have antimatter pods, and specifically anti-deuterium. This is a known volatile explosive that has been used quite successfully to free and cause great distraction if necessary. I would suggest perhaps doing a little research on it for those who are more inclined to the technical aspects of the anti-deuterium, but it is an option to use.
Would help me with this Tadagio, is that similar to like the antimatter spread the Enterprise unleashed at the Borg to just kind of distract them?
I believe so.
Is it?
I believe that is one instance.
Okay.
There was another instance in where I believe it was Lieutenant Commander Data in the Night Terrors incident used it to free themselves from. It basically allowed them to produce enough energy to release the Enterprise and the alien ship from the rift.
Was it kind of using it like a mine, or more of just a distraction? What is your intention, or for your idea?
Well, my personal suggestion would be to release an antimatter pod as we are attempting to flee. This would cause a significant explosion, perhaps even blind them. It wouldn't destroy them, but it might cause enough distraction and slow them down, at the very least. And due to the explosion, it would perhaps knock them off the course as far as trying to pursue us.
What do you say, Captain?
Make it so.
There you go. Well, Gene, if you want to be the one get on that, you could do that as a normal dice roll to create the advantage, or you could just do a 2 momentum spend to create the advantage, because you yourself, Tadagio yourself, you are a pilot, so you would probably understand the way you want it to be done to more or less push them off of your course or obscure your course to give you maybe
Correct.
a little head start, right?
Yes.
Do you want to try to roll to see if it's successful, or do you just want to buy the advantage with the 2 momentum?
Let's buy the advantage.
Okay, so you get down working on that, because basically you handle the fatigue anyhow, so you could now lend your piloting knowledge, your helm knowledge on that. Okay, so you're on that. You don't have to pull away the people in engineering. They're doing that. Alder's on standby, ready to do his thing. And Drake, you are you going to also fire torpedoes, or are you just going to do the antimatter pod?
I guess I'll be firing those instead then, yeah.
Okay, just firing those things. Okay, so then Thadagi is prepping that. Alder is going to swap all the power for the engine that he can as soon as engineering is done with their modifications, and we are coming up on that 30-minute mark, so we need the final roll from Krell and James. Are you ready, you two?
Ready.
So you have basically you only have, it's the difficulty is lowered. It's now 2. You the captain waited out the time limit, not rushing you, so nothing increased with difficulty or complication. Only magnitude 1. You just need 1 breakthrough now, so it's going to be same thing. Your reason and engineering supported with James's control and engineering.
I would say buy a dice again.
Okay, so challenge dice to 2.
It'll be right now task roll 3. If you're successful, then you'll get the challenge dice. So task roll 3, and then James task roll of 1. I believe you have your focus on and complication range of 2.
Okay, and do I need to take momentum down to 3 here? On my character sheet?
It's up to you if you want to
recorded?
track it. I'm just staring at the point on my computer. So there's 1
Rock and
left.
roll.
There's 1 left. Okay. Didn't pop up on my screen yet, so let me take a look. Okay, I see. James, you did your roll. I see that. Okay, so James has succeeded in helping, so her skills apply. And did you roll as well?
Right, yeah, I'm 1 above James.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't see it on my screen. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 4, 5. You only needed 2, so you get 3 momentum back. 1, 2, 3. And you're back up to 4. 4 seems to be really the magic number this episode. It's constantly at 4, which is, I guess, a good thing. Okay, that's a success, and you can do your 6 challenge dice now. And because of James' expertise being added to the mix, every effect counts as an extra, or removes 1 extra stress from there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you don't even need more than that. You only needed 4, so you don't have to spend any momentum. You don't need any bonuses. You are complete. You wrap everything up, slam the hatches shut, and everything lights up perfectly. You two.
James rolls her eyes and puts her hand up, ready for the high five.
And Krell finally just throws it up there and slaps hands. Perfect.
Okay, I'm sure you're relaying that information back to the bridge, that you have everything in place. And so...
Krell to ops, she's ready to go.
So, Alder, you got that message at your station, sir?
Okay, so Bull, when are you rolling your extended task?
Do you want to make that switch as soon as like the moment before Vumvi takes off, or do you want to do it now?
The moment before she takes off.
Okay, so then once things go down, you tell me, sir, and I'll throw those dice.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay, it's up to you, Locke. You're gonna make your call.
All right. So before making the call, I guess I'll address the crew. All right, everyone at their stations and ready.
Ready, Captain?
Yes, sir.
Ensign, be ready to make the jump as during the middle of the conversation. Perhaps when I say Starfleet will be the time, you'll know that is the time to make a run for it.
Understood.
Lieutenant Thadagia, is the anti-deuterium pod ready to go?
Ready.
All right. You two will release the pod at the same time during the conversation.
Yes, sir.
All right. Lieutenant Alder, please hail our friends behind us.
And I hit the button.
Okay, let's hit the button. Okay, the screen pops to life, and there is your best friend in the whole world, the commander of the alien vessel, appearing on screen, looking kind of haughty and a little annoyed. You did wait out the whole 30 minutes pretty much.
No, we're at like 27, 28.
Well, in his culture, 27 minutes is a half an hour, so he's pissed off right now. Looks at you. I hope you had time to prepare the crew under you for your surrender. Please proceed here, and let's get this over with. I respect your decision for not wasting your lives in the most agonizing way possible and serving the greater good.
You have assumed correctly. I have prepared my crew. But I must make one last plea with you before we give ourselves over to you. That we might work together to solve this mystery, to find an exit We are a science vessel. We have come to explore, to learn. My crew is more than capable to overcome this, and we would be happy to bring you with us through the exits that we will find. If you are to destroy us, you destroy your best chance at escaping this place.
Well, I appreciate the offer. I will admit that we will work together to escape from here. We will use the resources that we gain from such worthy foes as you, and the sustenance your crew will provide for my crew, and we will find a way out. Just perhaps not the way that you scientists hope for.
I guarantee you that Starfleet scientists are far more capable.
And we're off.
Yo.
Okay. Okay, who's first?
Drake, don't you need to?
Yeah, I'll drop my big one first.
Okay. So you're going to, we'll just say with that, you don't really even need to make a roll because you've already prepared for it. But if you want to make a roll and create a trait that will help slow them down, or at least continue the slowdown, buy you a little more time, definitely, because it's something they have to overcome, then you could either do that as a roll or a momentum spend.
I'm happy to try and a roll, get that advantage and some momentum, because we need it.
Okay, it's going to be difficulty of 2. There's no longer any fatigue on your side, but there is the power drain thing. Are you firing a torpedo or are you firing phasers? Because phasers also use power, whereas torpedoes don't quite.
I'll be firing the matter pod as the torpedo, I guess.
Okay, just using that as the torpedo. Okay, and just having it
Yeah.
self-detonate. Okay, so it's just going to be on difficulty 2 and your power drain +1 on it. The power demands. Complication. God, the words elude me. So difficulty 3.
In that case, I will buy 1 dice with threat.
With threat for bold.
For bold.
For bold. Okay, so you need 3. And you are firing it through the ship, so whoever wants to open the ship, that is going to be security. Security and weapons.
I'm security and control. Daring?
For this, I would say this isn't your standard kind of fight, but control or daring, it depends how you view this action happening. Normally would be control.
Then I'll stick with control. We're not doing anything too fancy. We're just throwing it in the way of their big gun.
DeGrasse Tyson, weapons and security. Who wants to do that?
See if I can open that up.
There you go.
I can.
Weapons
I've got it
and-
open now.
Okay.
All right. But Gene, keep trying to open it because there's going to be a couple more DeGrasse Tyson rolls so we can spread the love around, okay?
All right.
See if you get it.
And away.
What's the complication range?
It's still 2. Still 2 for this episode currently. Okay.
Ooh.
Something happened.
And I will be re-rolling 1.
Okay. Okay.
I got my 3.
You do, but the DeGrasse Tyson itself got a complication.
Yeah, we're gonna ignore that one. I think we'll ignore that.
I might not. Okay, so you fire out the pod. You did save that. You got all 3 which you needed. So no loss, no foul. You can roll your 1 challenge die for your bold, right?
Yeah.
Or no, the bold
Yeah.
untapped potential. Sorry.
Potential, yeah.
Oh,
And an effect.
that is +1 momentum and +1 threat. Look at that.
Yeah.
Just spreading the love for everyone. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
Let's see if it's +1 threat. That is now +1 threat. Okay. So you fire out the pod. It goes rocketing out the back of the ship. And let's get an external view here. if I even know where the external view is. Which, honestly, it's been so long since we used a space view. So, hang on. So you fire the pod out. Again, they are not coming head on at you, so I have to take that into account. Hang on. Go. We'll move here. So we'll take you there, and this is where you are. Alright, does everyone see that? We're on screen there. Makes sense? Everyone sees
Yep.
it? Okay, page change. Okay, so you fire out the pod. Again, basically, everything you see on the screen is just a representation. It's not exactly what's happening there. So you fire out the pod, it goes wobbling away, and it explodes. It explodes fantastically, really throwing a wave up on all the sensors, shaking things. But Drake, you start seeing like a lot of red lights appearing on your console after you've done that. Something in the firing mechanism or whatever it was, you're not sure, probably because the power is not going so well. That is triggering another roll on the extended consequences. So I'm going to do that right now, even before Alder gets his thing down. And that is 4 currently. However, let it be known that there is now 3 resistance on the thing, so that actually only takes 1 point off. So thanks to that, we're now down to 6 right there. Okay. All right, so it's a little bit down, but nothing too bad. So who's next? Alder, are you doing your thing, or?
Yeah, I suppose we can sort it out.
Okay, so Alder's fingers go typing on that, and I will make my second roll for good old Mr. Alder. All right, and that is 2, 4, 6, 7. That would have been like a breakthrough or milestone, whatever you call it, if it weren't for those damn 3 resistance you put on there. But that is still 4. It's still 4, and that takes it down to 2. So you missed a really dangerous situation, but had Krell and James not added that extra resistance to it, that would have been a breakthrough. So good on you. Good on you. That was a damn good roll. The only 1 die didn't roll doubles. Dang, fun things could happen. Okay, so you see the power grid is really being stretched to the max, but there's no major issues with swapping around the energy, and you're not losing anything. Alder's pre-planning and calculations are working. So who's up next?
Movie's ready. Whenever you need her, she's got the engines ready to launch.
All right. Well, we got who's he what's his. We got the bad guys distracted because of both Tadagia and Drake. They established their traits on there. We have Alder did his thing. I think Vumvi must be the next one who needs to act right now, unless Lolk wants to yell something inspirational to her.
No. I'm sitting in the captain's chair, just entirely focused on the data and coming up for me.
Okay.
And actually, I mean, I'm still talking, I guess, to a certain degree to the... I mean, I'm assuming the video didn't cut off, or did it?
Not until the antimatter thing went and disrupted all sensors behind. So once that exploded, then you lost the signal.
Okay, so up until that point, I just kept the facade up, continuing my speech to him about Starfleet. And but once the explosion went off, then I'm letting everyone do their job, and once we get moving, I'll ask the ensign ensign and Lieutenant Drake for updates.
Okay. So Vumbi, I guess that's your your cue. You're good to go.
Yeah, as soon as the explosion happens, she kind of runs her fingers up the controls and sets the engines to full.
Okay, there we go. And Alder got the power for you. So this is going to be normally difficulty of 0. It's difficulty of 1 because of the power demands. But that's it. It's control and helm, supported by Gene. Did you get roll 20 open? You could roll for that if you want to. Engines and con.
Engines and con. All right.
Con.
That needs to be renamed on the sheet now.
Yeah. Wrath of Khan. That could be a name of an episode. Yeah. Okay, the ship has played its role.
Okay, do I need a roll as well?
Yes, Vumbi.
No?
Yes.
Oh
So, yeah. Do you have Vumbi's sheet open?
I have Vumbi's sheet open. I have control selected and con.
Control con. Task roll a 2 unless you want to buy an extra die, which technically you don't need since the ship has already given you a. Well, actually, you do because the support doesn't count unless the main person actually gets a success as well. But you do have at least 1 success already. So it's going to be 2 dice unless you buy more. You currently have 5 momentum.
I mean, we have 5 momentum. We might as well use it, right?
Sure. That's what it's there for.
Okay.
Agreed.
Use 1?
Yep.
Okay, so 3 dice for 1 point.
Okay. Do I need to adjust? I can never remember this. Do I need to adjust complication range? It's at 3, so I put it at 2.
Complication range should be at 2. Yes, that's right. And yeah.
And task rolls at 2. Challenge dice 0.
Task roll 2, challenge dice 0. And I think all of Vumbi's focuses got erased from her sheet in the big roll 20 wipeout, but she should have a focus for piloting, so focus should be on.
Okay. So focus is yes. Bada bing.
Okay, there we go. And you got 1 success, which is all you need, but you also did get a complication as well. There we go. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Got something.
Makes for a good story.
It does make for a good story. Okay, so Vumbi, she punches the controls just like you said. Fingers go tapping. The DGT rips away from the sparkly antimatter explosion, and you go racing on a course towards the deuterium detected. Yes? So far, so good, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to use that roll again to just keep going at it with this power thing because you're using a lot of power, and actually because technically using the engines like this, putting the power in, that triggers a roll anyhow. So what I'm going to use the complication for would be like using a point of threat. I am reducing the resistance by 2. So there's only 1 resistance right now. So that's what's going to happen on there. So what do we get this time? Not nearly as good. That's sad. That's sad.
Sad for the game master, sad for the crew.
Well, technically for everyone, because, you know, drama really makes these stories fulfilling.
Okay, so good for us. Yay.
Well, you know what? No, because...
Don't be going adding stuff. The dice never lie.
I have all this threat. I'm going to use 1 to re-roll. Re-roll the 2 blank dice. I had 16 points of threat. You know, you've been skating through this episode. You've been skating through. Do you see this mountain here? Do you see? I'm rolling because even with the 1 resistance, I took out resistance. Even with the 1 resistance, I'm still only doing 1 little pitiful thing. So, wabam! A little better. Okay, so that's 4. The 1 takes it down, so that's 3. You hit 0 on the stress track. So that does reach 1 breakthrough, but it needs 2 for the full power to get lost. Sadly, I couldn't get 5 scored. Of course not, but that's okay. What the first one does, it's called a setback, and the setback gives me 2 threat. So now I'm up to 17. So I need to use more threat. Come on, I need to use more thread. But still no different power loss because apparently I'm rolling like Will Wheaton. So here we go. Going to put those dice back. Doubt I'll be using that.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. The Glulk is just down in the warp core hugging it.
Yeah.
So, holding it together.
Because like I should be falling apart, but dang, I needed this. Okay, so Vumbi, she does her thing, you're racing away. You see the power grid is fluctuating, like everything's flickering. Everything's flickering on the screens, but no power loss as of yet. However, with the work track on this down to 0 now, all it takes is a single point of stress on this roll, and that power is going to be gone, and the track's going to reset. So just letting you all know any kind of big uses of power or just serious uses of power is going to make Alder's life a little more difficult. Okay? All right, so racing through, you're heading towards the deuterium, and Lulk, you said you want to call for a status report from your departments, right?
Yeah. So, Lieutenant Drake, how did our friends react to the anti-deuterium pod going off?
Yes, Captain. The anti-deuterium seems to have created a directed energy surge and has resulted in a sensor overload on the ship. So they can't see us at the moment, but I don't know how long it's going to take before they get those back online.
Well, please continue to monitor the area, and once notify me as soon as we have readings on their ship. I assume they will be giving chase as soon as they realize what has happened.
Yes, Commander. So I'll keep doing sensor checks on that then, Bill.
Okay. Who's next?
Ensign. How is the ship holding up? You still have control?
Yes, Captain. Course was successfully laid in, and engines are at full. We should arrive at our destination as soon as the game master tells us how long until we get there.
That's what it says on display, like waiting for game master input.
Lieutenant James, how are the engines holding up?
Let's not rock the boat too much more.
All right.
They're holding.
Lieutenant Alder, how is the energy grid? Will she make it?
Barely holding, sir.
All right. Lieutenant Tadagia, everything still all right in medical?
Everything is holding.
I must thank you for the idea with the anti-deuterium. It seems to have worked quite well.
Honestly, I did not believe it was going to work so well.
All right. So, Starfleet Command, how far off are we from our destination?
Because you put a lot into the engines and you're racing through there, I would imagine it's going to take you probably just about 10 to 15 minutes at this maintained speed to get to where that point was on the sensors.
All right. Lieutenant Alder, please begin trying to scan and analyze the deuterium source, not just for how much deuterium we might be able to capture, but also if there might be any other anomalies or clues as to the source of this deuterium or why it's still here.
Understood.
We good? If so, then Alder, I would like you to make a sensors roll, if you don't mind, and I need somebody to roll for the DeGrasse Tyson on that. It's a typical scanning roll, but it's still +1 difficulty, so difficulty 1, but hang on a second. But yeah, DeGrasse Tyson has advanced sensor suite So it actually does take it back down to 0. So it is a difficulty 0 roll for you, Alder. So you don't necessarily have to roll if you don't want to, but you do generate the extra momentum you could use for obtain information, as well as the for momentum you still have. So it's your call if you want to roll or not.
Roll.
You want to roll? Okay. So control and science, and supported by sensors and science on the DGT. Whoever has the sheet open and ready to go.
I've got it here. Unless anyone else wants to.
Go for it.
Okay. That's 1 momentum back, because even though Alder did not roll a success, all he needed was no successes to pass, so technically he did succeed by not succeeding. So the extra roll for the DeGrasse Tyson does count, giving you momentum of 5. So Alder, what's the data that's coming in, especially the closer you're getting? You see that there's, again, it's not a significant amount of deuterium, but it might be able to prevent a little of the strain on the systems if you collect it. There's other trace elements, trace gases that are there. They all seem to be converging on one single point in space. Again, it's not a massive amount, but all these things seem to be gathered together in one point that you are approaching.
Do you have an indication of why they're all concentrated around this point?
That could be an obtain information spend. So again, if you want to use that.
Indeed, yes.
You are detecting that it's not really gravitic, but there is some kind of I would say like pulling energy. The word I want to use, the actual term in physics I want to use, decided not to join the game today, but there is some kind of a subatomic level reaction of there is an attraction pulling everything to that point. So that's why it's being gathered there. You can tell it is being reeled in. Okay,
I relay that to Commander Locke and wait for the orders.
With the correct science, please. Okay, not my stumbling words.
There's some kind of, Commander, there's some kind of mysterious force attracting a certain number of concentrated particles in the region, hence the deuterium being concentrated here. I would just hazard further study in case there's anything to be gained from knowing more. I wait your further instructions, sir.
I'm guessing that, as you describe it as a mysterious force, it's not some sort of gravitational well.
No, nothing that I can determine like a gravitational well just yet, sir.
So there's no mass there that we're just not picking up. It's something else.
Not that my senses have seen yet.
This really is unfortunate that we are being tailed at this moment. If we had time, we could investigate such a force, and this might be our best clue yet on how to escape. But it seems that time is not with us currently. I relay the information to the other crew members, and any ideas on how we can quickly test interaction with this point in space.
Collect as much deuterium as we possibly can, and then try and punch through it like we've done with all the other subspace. Weakened subspace holes, if you want to call them that. I mean, without sitting and doing lots of scans to see what it is. Like you said, we don't have much time. It'd be great to study it.
At this point, do we have a read on the other ship yet?
Sure, Drake, you see that by this point, because a few moments have passed, they have resumed their pursuit and they are closing in, but you got a good head start.
We've got a lead, but they're on our tail, Commander.
So they are willing to follow us in this direction.
Would appear so.
That is unfortunate.
Indeed.
And they start hailing you. How about that?
Ooh.
All right.
As you approach
will
it.
accept it.
Okay, the happy man appears on the screen again, and he looks visibly flustered and frustrated. Starfleet, he says almost accusingly.
You must excuse our hasty retreat. In fact, if anything, I consider it a gift to you, as you are so persistent in your love of the hunt that this is a gift. You getting to continue to hunt us. You called us crafty and praised our ability to escape your clutches multiple times, so I assume that we can add this to our list of successes that impress you.
As you're going through with your taunt, he almost roars, cutting you off. What did you mean by Starfleet?
This is the this is a Starfleet science vessel. We are a research vessel that is investigating the disappearance of a Starfleet ship from some time ago in this area. In fact, we've tracked it to this very... We ended up inside this space while tracking our main mission.
He cuts you off again, and he seems to sink back. We will not fall into your trap. Go, then, be with your kind, and know that we want nothing to do with you ever again. And he closes off the comms.
Wait, so he hates Starfleet? He doesn't believe we're Starfleet? I'm confused by this.
I think he knows Starfleet, and he said, "Go be with your kind," which implies there's something up ahead we want to go and see. But they're not following. Commander, they are not following as per the scans, right, Bill?
Yep, they've cut their pursuit and they have backed off.
Well then, I guess that gives us some time to investigate here.
Yeah.
All right. As surprising as this is, that they have cut off the chase, I suppose I'm not too surprised. They're not Klingons. Ensign, bring us up to a safe distance to the anomaly, where we can quickly, we do not know how long, until they decide to venture after us again, but still take the time to investigate this anomaly and perhaps find a way out.
Aye, Captain.
Okay, sorry.
I would say, so Lieutenant Alder, please begin a full sweep of scans. Do we still have power to, I mean, that would be power for science, right?
Yeah.
All right, so do we still have power? Do we still have enough power in the science to be able to begin the investigation?
As far as I'm aware, we do, sir. I'll relay it down to the science division and get right on it.
All right. And Lieutenant James, would you and engineering please work with the science department as closely as you can for now to try to find a solution to our current, or find out what this anomaly is and how we might be able to interact with it or use it to our advantage.
And our friends, are they still following us?
It seems that they have given up the chase for the time being. There's something here that they want nothing to part of.
Interesting. The deuterium?
We are collecting the deuterium as we investigate the anomaly.
I'll head up to science.
Very well. So at this point, I guess we all need to do the scans and then start figuring out, based on that information, figuring out a way to use the anomaly if we can.
I'd also like to set up a subspace, not distress signal, basically calling out to any Starfleet ships using the old code that we got from the probe as the sequence, just to see if anybody responds.
Okay.
Excellent idea.
Make a note of that. If I would stop losing.
Do we want to leave, if we work out how to go through, do we want to leave some sort of buoy with instructions so that others who are stuck here, that's assuming we find a way through.
Will be a good idea.
Yeah, you could leave a probe. That's no problem. Just something to... I mean, you could even set it to the same security code as before.
Yeah,
I was just meaning a probe for everyone as well. Like, even the Hirogen, if they wanted to get out, like, you know, it seems the nice thing to do.
Drake shook his head no.
But yeah, we can leave that behind if we find anything.
Okay, shall we just jump ahead to the scans?
Think so.
Sounds good.
Okay, so then we'll time jump a little bit without rolling, and that Alder has been making scans. Everyone's been looking at the data that's going in. Pretty much what you see is everything is, all those elements are being collected, gathered at the point of another subspace rift, or another one of those thin subspace walls that you've been using to go from partition to partition. The difference being that the other ones didn't really have any kind of like subatomic pull to them. They were just, if you didn't know what you're looking for, you wouldn't even seen it. This one here seems to, for reasons you cannot determine, it has an invisible force acting on it that is attracting these tiny molecules of these gases to gather at this point. And Alder, the more he scans, you could see that eventually these gases are seeping through this rift on their own due to the pull. So they are draining almost as they're gathering here. They're not just stuck, but it's a slow process. If you are going to gather it, basically you would be entering the rift itself to gather the chemicals that are in there, because of just how they are swirling down the drain, for lack of a better term.
But they are.
Okay, I'm gonna be.
They are going somewhere.
They are going somewhere. Yes. What's that, Alder?
No, I'm just saying. I'll have both engineering and commander log get this information from me, just so that we can determine how best to gather the deuterium.
Is there any way we can tell whether? I mean, did you say that we can go in there too, wherever in there is?
Yeah, it's the same as all the other rifts,
Okay.
basically. Just with the fact that this one seems to have some sort of very low weak force attraction to it.
Are there any differences in the shield settings that we would need to make for this one? Are there any, frequency changes or anything like that that we need to account for?
Otherwise, everything seems the same as every other rift you came across. Yeah.
I can't remember. Did we try previously shooting drone pods through or beacons of any kind through the rift? We did, right?
Yep.
And were we able to still contact them once they went through? Or did we lose? We lost contact with them, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. So it wouldn't help to send one through first to make sure it was safe. Yeah.
Potentially, this one's different. Don't know how different.
It's got more of a pull, so I imagine it would be more difficult for anything to come back through compared to the other rifts as well.
I think we go for it.
Considering that, one, they didn't want to come near us, and two, he said something about joining other Starfleet, I'm guessing that the ship we're looking for might be through here, but also it might be a more dangerous space if they're not willing to come through.
Out the pop.
Do we have the power to push through the subspace hole again?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Should do.
Well, if everyone else is good for it, then
yeah.
Unless someone can think of something else to test before we go through, then we don't have many other options.
No other options at this point.
I mean, ideally, sending a probe through would be a good idea, except for the fact that we've got no other option, really. Stay here, and eventually we're going to either run out of fuel, which won't be much longer, or we get blown up by our friends. So, I think we go for it. Risk is part of the game. If you want to sit in that chair.
Let's go through then.
Okay. Everyone taking their stations then?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Don't really need a roll.
I'll head back to engineering then.
Okay. Don't really need a roll on that one. James goes back to engineering. Anything anyone else wants to do before the punch through?
Just want to set
as we go through, collect.
Yeah, you're going to collect the gases. What's that, Drake?
Yep. Just set up the subspace relay.
Okay, so you get the relay, letting people know, and you're going to collect the deuterium. Okay. All right. Okay, shall take you out then. So Vumvi is still at the controls. Don't really need to do a roll for this because you're just flying in a straight line. Nothing that's really going to distract it. You're going to go through the usual shaking. So David, you're the only one on camera. You got to do the shake. There we go. If everyone wants to just like punch your computer monitor to simulate, that'll be fine. Okay, go through the rift. The Buzzard collectors are getting in the deuterium. Not a massive amount, but at least it will give you one more point of power. So power +1. Again, no roll is needed for that. It's just naturally collecting it and trying to replenish your stores. And the ship is rocking. It seems a little bit stronger than it has been every time, save for the time you were just yanked in from the comet. But eventually you do get through the other side, and you come out, and you are still in the void, but not quite. There is very far in the distance a very dim star, almost, it looks like. And you find yourself in orbit of a singular small planetoid, but it is a planet. It's a small world of sorts. And there is still this strange pull as the planet itself seems to be drifting towards that star. But it's a very odd star. It's a very odd planet. And even the lighting that's coming off the star doesn't seem natural. And as the planetoid moves through it, it's almost as if it's cutting through the darkness and this invisible light. And all sorts of other tiny particle matter and bits are in the wake, all heading in this direction towards this distant star. And that's what you see immediately upon coming out on the other side.
I'd like to do some tactical scans of the area.
Okay.
I'll roll for the ship as well.
There you go.
Would it be security or science still?
It's science. For the ship sensors.
Oh, come on.
Okay, well, one, that's enough. One is enough because it's a all you had was the one difficulty on there left, so that's all you needed. And you got a what's it called? A complication. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna bank it as 2 more threat. Just in case. Just in case. Got to think about things. All right. Your scan showed you don't detect any ships, anything like that in the distance. Nothing directly threatening. There's no kind of dangerous like radiation. There's no traps. There's nothing like that in your immediate sensor field. But as it is a sensor roll, you do have the obtain information spend available to you.
Yeah, then
I'm
planet.
sorry. I apologize. That was a sensor roll, so actually difficulty was 0, so you gained 1 momentum on that. Apologies. Yeah.
In that case, the planetoid and all the crap floating behind it.
Again, that's just an image just to suggest. I mean, it doesn't mean it's actually looking like that, but it's a cool image, right? Huh? Nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
But all the bits in the area.
Yeah.
Anything distinctive about them? Are they all deuterium, which would be very nice.
No, it's just all random trace elements, like whatever like was bleeding through the rift on the other side, like the very small, like molecule by molecule as it's coming through, other little remnants of gases, inert gases, just trace elements that you would imagine be around. Sometimes there's even tiny little metallic components that look like remnants of possibly starships or some kind of construction that's no longer existent. So it's basically just any little bit loose debris that's being pulled in that one singular direction.
If there's starship bits, are there any Starfleet starship bits?
These things are
like
way
old.
too tiny to really tell. It's just really like
Okay.
tiny bits. There's some alloys that may be the kind used in Starfleet. Some alloys that are used like through most construction wherever, and some that may be a little unusual, but there's nothing that has a signature to it.
Is the weird star thing out of sensor range?
Yes and no. Yes and no. As in, normally you would be able to get that has to be a momentum spend for the details on that if you want that.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's normally you would be able to like plot distances with the stars and the light. While it's clearly there, it seems to be set at an almost infinite distance away. That's what your sensors are telling you. That's what your sensors are telling you. It's there, but it's not there. If it was an infinite distance away, you wouldn't be able to detect it like you do, but your sensors are not grabbing on it. It's like just outside of anything.
Don't know what to say on that one. Anybody got any other questions they want asked?
Do we have a course, Captain? We should plot.
For the meantime, should keep a healthy distance and attempt to gather as much information as possible. Lieutenant Alder, how close do we need to be to continue gathering information on the bodies in this area?
Do I have an indication of that, Bull? Like,
well, you're right. You're basically right at the planet, so any scan of the planet would be okay. And the star itself, you're getting the same breathings there. You would have to fly until the end of the universe to reach it, according to your scans.
well, Commander Log, I think good thing we got the deuterium. We'll need to go to the edge of the universe in order to scan that star. But I'm sure me and the crew are willing to go that far just for you.
Well then. For now, we should focus on the planet. We can stay put and begin searching for any signs of what might have happened here, any signs for other vessels, or, God forbid, life on this planet.
Does it look like everything's being sucked towards the star?
Everything's drifting lazily in that direction, yes.
So this image is like, that's the planet. It's not like a comet. It's like a planet that's moving towards that.
It's like a planet, yeah, that's kind of tearing almost through the darkness itself. So it looks almost as if it's a comet the way it is, but it's like that's the light from the star coming off of it, but there's no other light. It's nothing
Captain,
like you've seen before.
Could this be our whole out? Everything is being sucked towards it, maybe.
But if it's at the edge of the universe, then we wouldn't make it there, even if it is a whole out.
It may not be at the edge of the universe. It could just be our sensors not picking it. I mean, clearly it's, unless it's utterly massive, at the end of the universe, by its size, it's either got to be fairly, let's not say close, but within range of our sensors, I would imagine. It's just they don't know what it is, or can't scan it.
Well, let's focus on the planet which is next to us for now, in the immediate surrounding area, and if we come up short without something else to move forward on, then we can focus more towards the star.
Sounds good.
So you want Volvi to bring us in orbit of the planet?
I don't know about orbit, but maybe, I mean, I guess it's not. I mean, how fast? You said it's lazily moving, so it's not like it's actually a comet rocketing towards it.
Nope. No.
So yeah,
could
yeah.
Run
Bring
parallel
us
to
into
it.
orbit should be good then.
Okay. Wolvie's gonna go ahead and bring the ship into orbit.
Okay, you get your ship in orbit. I am assuming that you're running the scans and everything that you would. You're getting, again, I guess Alder would be the main one with the scans here for the science stuff here, but you're pretty much getting the same conflicting information that the planet is clearly there. It's clearly there, but it seems that it's not entirely in this plane of existence as well. Where you're getting measurements, you're reading it, it has an atmosphere, it has a surface, but it seems out of line with what you would expect the readings to show for a normal standard body in space. Which is the
can I
easiest
launch
to
a probe
explain.
towards it?
Yeah. Launching the
Okay,
probe, it doesn't reveal any extra information. You're still getting the same readings. The probe lands on the surface firmly, and it's giving you the same readings. It's there, but it's not. Is probably the clearest and yet most confusing way to explain what you're getting.
Am I able to deduce like the distance it traveled to get to that planet?
Yeah, the distance matches up with what it looks like from your experience in standard, where you are in orbit of this planet, how long it would take to get to the surface. It took that long to get there.
Commander, we had the same issue with the planet as we did before with the other scans. Distance and distance on the scans and distance by eye are totally different.
Can we try measuring the distance in another way, perhaps with the probe, to see the physical, see if we can measure a physical distance?
Yes, sir. And then Bull, obviously, this would be when I sent that probe, and then
yes, and then you
maybe.
get that. So yeah, it's all on the up and up in that regard. It's just the information, everything, your sensors, the probe, everything's picking up. Just strangely gives you that whole. It's there just as you think it is, but it's not conforming to the laws of like physical objects that you are used to finding in normal space.
But it's not phasing like in and out of existence, right? Like we can see it.
Yeah, and Alder's probe is showing that that it's remaining firmly on the surface, and so visually it's still there, and according to the probe, at least physically, it's still there.
Landing party, maybe.
I mean, have we detected anything? Is it just, or can we scan to see if there's any space on the planet that stands out, or is it all just barren rock?
Well, as soon as you say that, Alder, how about that? Your console lights up and your probe starts pinging to you. It is detecting a single life form on the surface.
Ooh. Commander, there does seem to be a life form on the surface from that I've just detected.
Interesting. A single life form.
Yes, sir.
Single but dating, still open.
Is there a ship or a settlement, even a building that you can see?
Oh, I don't think I've detected as such, but I'm sure our game master could tell us.
Nope,
No,
nothing
indeed,
else
nothing.
came in, no.
Do we know the environment of the surface?
Breathable
Well,
atmosphere.
what is the probe showing?
Yeah, it's showing. It looks like it would be a normal, maybe not type class M, but I don't know. I don't remember the next overclass. It's still breathable. It's still livable, but it's yeah, it's for being a place that doesn't really have a star, and that it's showing signs that it is habitable or at least survivable. There's nothing extreme about it that your probe is showing.
And given the strangeness of the interaction so far between our scanners and probes and the planet, do you believe that it would be safe to use the transporter? Can we get an accurate lock onto the location?
Bull, like, as Commander's saying that, do I have any indication of like the condition of this person at all?
You're not getting any details about the person, though.
Would I be able to transport them up?
It doesn't look like you're getting the same thing where it's there but not there, and it's eluding transporters.
Commander, it seems like I can't bring them to us, but I'm sure if we take a shuttle, we can go down to there. Transporters, I don't think are going to be much use here.
All right. Then we'll put together an away team, take the shuttle down to the surface to investigate. Lieutenant Drake, I'd like you to lead the away team.
Yes, Commander. I'll get right on it.
As such, I'd like you to choose 2 other crew members to go with you, depending on who you believe would be of the most help.
In that case, I believe Lieutenant Thadagia is a must if we're encountering a life on that planet. They may be in quite a severe condition. He can also pilot for us. And Alda as operations, if he feels up to it, if he would like to join us as a science and engineering specialist.
Yes.
Covers all.
Excellent. And then please prepare and head out as soon as you're ready.
Yes, sir. And
in the meantime, Lieutenant James?
Yes, Captain.
I'd like you to continue working on in engineering on the work you were doing for stabilizing our energy systems. We have some time now while the crew goes to investigate in order to prepare the ship and get some repairs done now that we have a little bit more fuel. But we need to be ready to exit this space as soon as we find one.
Yes, Captain.
Okay, let me get this set up. So it's Drake going down on the planet, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Drake, Thadagia.
Alda and Thadagia.
And Alder. Okay. All right, so getting you down onto the surface of this planet. You take the shuttle down, I think. So getting you down to the surface, you land on a peculiar world. I mean, it looks dead where you land on it. You see the star in the distance. It looks like it should be much, much closer than it is when you're on the surface than when you are in orbit. And you see on the horizon like jagged silhouettes of cities, but your tricorders come out, and I'm sure you're all scanning. These are showing the cities, again, much like the star, almost at an infinite distance away. That there's no sign of life or any kind of greenery or any kind of even animal life form, no insects at all. It's just a barren, dying world, from what you can tell, as Drake can see very clearly behind him. but you do start picking up on the signs of the life sign not too far ahead.
Then we'll make our way over.
Okay, so the three of you are heading down, scanning the whole way as you're going, and almost surrealistically, there seems to be just a normal chair just sitting there in the middle of this wasteland, with a figure in dirty, tattered robe sitting on the chair, all alone, with its back to you.
I don't have my phaser yet, but yeah. Hello, can you hear me? I call out to said person.
When you call out, the figure doesn't turn to face you, but just raises a hand and beckons you forward.
Okay, then I'll try and, rather than just going straight at him, kind of like loop around in front of him.
Okay. Thadagia and Alder, are you following along?
Yes, I'm actually going to loop around to the other side while running a scan at the same time, like a tricorder scan.
Okay.
I'm going to hold my position and carry on scanning with my phaser out.
Okay. So then let's do that. So Drake wants to come around, you want to go around, and this person.
Oh, look, there's a little man. I didn't notice the man before.
Now you notice the man.
Oh, Christ.
Nice reaction. So as you come around, you see this very ancient-looking, weathered woman sitting in the chair with just a neutral expression as she regards you. It took you long enough.
Do you know who we are?
You are Starfleet, like the others.
There were others?
She nods.
How long ago?
Who's to say in a place like this?
Before we get on to this place, who are you?
I'm the last of my world. If I had a name, it no longer has any meaning.
And this is your home world?
It was.
What happened to it?
We angered the gods.
And how did you do that?
Who's to say?
Was hoping you would. Do you know a way out of here?
I know your associates have the way out, but they need you.
We're happy to go to them. Where are they?
You will find them when you seek them.
We've been seeking them for a while. Could you give me any advice?
She smiles and she raises a very crooked, bony finger and points at area space a specific degree away from the star in the sky. It won't take you long. They have been waiting for you, much as you've been waiting for them.
Thank you. Do you wish to come with us?
I'm afraid I'm a part of this world now, and my fate is the same as the rest of my kind.
The choice is yours to make. But thank you.
What are my readings as far as my scans? Am I detecting it?
Yeah, your readings are really peculiar because it's showing again that she is there. She's definitely physically in front of you, but you are reading simultaneously her being alive and being dead at the same time. That time is sort of meaningless to what state she's in now. And almost similar to what she said, she is giving off the same kind of readings as the planet, that she's not really there, even though she's there. So whatever state the planet's in, that's the state she's in.
Interesting.
I walk up behind her and touch her on the shoulder.
Okay.
And as I touch on the shoulder, ask her, where is here?
Here is the end of all things.
And before the end, what was here?
Before the end, we weren't here. We existed. We once were. We lived.
Where did you live?
We had a home. And she mentions names of star systems and names of stars, but none of it is anything that you have heard of before.
So as I'm touching it, like, I mean, there is physical contact, right?
There is physical contact. Yes, you are definitely coming in contact with her, much as like you're coming in contact with, what's it called, with the planet itself.
So she's very much alive. I can feel like her body is warm.
You feel, yeah. She feels like she's physically there. She feels like she's physically alive, yes.
Our colleagues who were here, did you meet them? And if so, did any of them give their names of themselves, their ship?
I only recall the name of their groups. The Starfleet and Darwin.
I say thank you, and then I slowly back off again.
Is there anything we do for you before we leave?
She just smiles, looks at you, and says, "Survive for the sake of your people. Find the way out and free us all."
Yes, ma'am. And then I guess, unless anyone has anything else to do, start backing away. I would like to try and scan like the what they called chromatons.
Okay.
Time things.
Nothing particularly timey-wimey, if that's what you're looking for.
Very timey-wimey stuff. Okay. Then yeah, if there's nothing else, then I guess head back to the shuttle and relay the information to the commander, especially the direction in which she pointed.
Okay. All right, we're going to beam you back up to ship. It's already 5 o'clock now, but if everyone's okay, I would like to take at least 10 more minutes to just wrap this up.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Do
Do you have the time?
Okay.
Okay, if that's
Yes,
okay.
but I just need like 1 minute to run to the bathroom really quick.
Yeah. Okay, why don't you do...
All right.
Okay, take a
Wait.
quick couple-minute bathroom break. Go ahead, and we'll do that. And let me just... Here,
We're gonna destroy the planet while you're in the bathroom.
As you should. Okay.
We ejected the warp core while you're taking a leak.
Hey, you're not ejecting my warp core.
Oh, could I ask if the Dacia had shot that alien with the phaser, the scan and the reality would have matched?
If he was shot, what?
If he had phasered the woman we met now,
Uh-huh.
then the scans in reality would have matched, right?
Well, you would have found out what happened if you saw her. I mean,
Okay, well, we can always rewind back
yeah.
and do that.
Let's go
No,
back in.
we're not shooting the old nice lady on the planet.
Shoot the lady in the face just in case, just to be safe.
I like how it was if the Dagia shot her.
Yeah, not me.
I thought he could do a medical quip there as he like shot her. Said, like,
Oh,
rest
she
in
doesn't. She
peace.
appears to be dead. Poof, poof, poof. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Turns out she does die. Interesting. I like
Finished
that.
up another species.
Let's see.
Okay.
And Paul, where's Talar in all this?
He's still making the coffee for you.
I was seriously actually debating if I couldn't play Talar going down to the planet rather. I was really
Well, eventually.
I can imagine him chatting shit about the old lady.
Yeah.
Would have made her a coffee.
Okay.
Right, done with one.
Okay, so you're all up on the ship now, and you told the captain what you heard from the woman, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Let's make sure that's all showing there. Captain, what are your orders then?
Well, this is the entire goal of our mission from the beginning. So I see no reason to delay. We must go and find the Darwin.
Assume everyone agrees.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Then let's go. So you head in the course that she points out to you, and we'll just speed ahead to that. As you are approaching, you're basically still in this strange pocket. That star is still infinitely behind you. Alder and Drake, you start detecting signs of a debris field ahead.
Can we make anything out?
As you're going closer, yeah, it's definitely not like planetary debris. It seems like it's artificial structure.
Starfleet materials?
No, we'll say as you're scanning and as you're approaching it, you do get a hit on it. It's coming up as Borg.
Ah, shit. I relay that very quickly to Lolk. You were
Paul,
saying all that?
Can I ask quick, any indication of like how long ago this Borg cube or whatever it was destroyed, or how long this debris has been floating?
It seems to be quite a while. There's the signs of, like just the way it's drifted and just the way the way the debris has spread, suggests that it has been in this condition for quite a while, maybe more than a decade or two.
Okay, I'll relay that to the commander along with Drake.
And is there any indication of the Darwin?
As you ask that, Drake, you are keeping an eye on all your sensors and everything. You could see directly ahead of you what looks like remains of a Borg sphere. So not a cube, so a much smaller vessel. You check to see if there's any signs of Federation or Starfleet. And finally, you've been having the channel running the distress call on the old Starfleet signal. That pings to life. It's getting a callback on it. Something is picking up that signal and something's pinging back.
Commander, we're getting a response on the relay that I set up. Shall I put it through to the screen?
It's not coming in visually. It's just
Oh.
something's accepting the signal. Something's receiving it. So, and it's sending a send back that's saying that, almost like, so you know you've connected with an allied ship.
Is
I think
that
we should.
is that signal coming from anywhere near the Borg sphere?
I'm
Uh,
guessing so.
It's coming from maybe the opposite side of the debris field, not necessarily inside the sphere. That you're kind of where you are now. The debris field is so wide. I mean, don't just go by the picture like you're pretty much in the middle of it. There's the giant pieces that are still there, but the debris field has been spreading for years, and everything's still drifting lazily in the direction of the star. So
Yeah.
through the other side of it, yeah.
Attempt contacting whatever we've locked onto. Hopefully, it's still Starfleet. But be cautious. We don't want any chance of the Borg being able to, of anything that might remain from that Borg sphere being able to interact with our systems. I assume there's standard Starfleet protocol for putting up computational defenses against Borg.
Yeah, the usual, I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, I'll send out a hail after doing that.
Okay, Alder, you start getting a ping on your system. And you see there is a ship coming in. Drake, you detect it a second later. Alder and Drake, both of you on the sensors, you do get the signal that it is a Starfleet ship. And it's coming back as an Oberth class science vessel, the predecessor to the Nova class.
Commander, there's a ship, and it's Starfleet, and it's approaching us.
Hail the ship.
I put it through to the main view screen.
Okay. So you open the hail, and the channel opens, and before a channel opens, you see the Oberth class ship. I don't know if you all know what that ugly old ship looks like, but you see one in the distance finally appear coming through the debris. And the channel opens, and there's a loud screeching interference that basically pierces all of your ears, like with this high intensity. It just like a strong feedback loop. And I'm spending 12 threat that I've been holding on to for this very moment. And that things you haven't detected start popping to life with power around the debris field, and the ship, your ship, gets hit by this massive wave of energy that starts knocking all the engines off. It starts the engines offline, the shields drop down. Just a very huge overload. Down in engineering, there's a huge pulse that goes through the warp core as it starts to go dark, and then consoles start exploding. Krell, you see James run towards one of the consoles, yelling to the other crew members, and it explodes right in front of her face, and you see her go flying literally through the air in engineering, hit the upper wall, and drop down right at your feet.
Looks like there's an opening in engineering.
Hey! A lot of other crew members get thrown around too, but she was right there when the blast took place.
Krell to sick bay, emergency medical transport. Lieutenant James has been what looks to be critically injured.
Okay, Thadagia, you go to the controls there for the emergency transporter, and you go to engineering, and you get no life signs from Lieutenant James at all. But stop there, Thadagia, while you're confused at that. Back on the ship. Finally, the ship comes into view. And what do we have here? You see the familiar form of the Oberth class pop in, except you see it is covered with Borg technology. And finally, a voice, or should I say dozens of voices, comes through the speaker and in unison says, "Surrender your ship. Your biological, technological, and cultural distinctiveness will be added to our own. We are Starfleet." And the episode ends here. That's the end of episode 9. And we go to our credit roll with the firm look of seriousness on Locke's face and Krell updating his resume down in engineering. All right, just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying 10 minutes over time. I just thought we were so close, might as well just wrap up the episode. We got plenty of time for details next episode. So thank you for that. That's the end of episode 9, The World of the End. And I will catch you next time, stopping the recordings. Peace. Thank you.